Hey everyone. So in this video here, I just hit 10,000 subscribers, which is a big milestone for me. And as a thank you, I wanted to give away my AOM data spreadsheet. And I know I wanted to give it away a long time ago, and I've been talking about it, but I've just haven't completed it. And even now, it's still not really fully completed. I'm still working on this as I get free time, but it's still very useful. I think that a lot of people can actually benefit from it. Um, so this is going to be available for download. I'm going to just show you where you can get it. I put it right here, and I'm going to put the link in the description as well. It's on this my Patreon site, and it's completely free. You don't have to pay for it. I am going to do future iterations to it. I'm going to keep on improving it. So in any case, I just want to show you what it is. So initially when I started Retold, I kind of wanted to just make a little notebook for myself. And I started off with some basic notes. So, I mean, it's nothing fancy. This is kind of, you read it over, it's kind of nice to know. And it's kind of nice to remind yourself every now and then. You can just make your own list and just before each game or each series, just keep on reminding yourself of the fundamentals, which is what I do. I think these are very important things. Now, the most important thing about this spreadsheet is all the numbers here. This has all the unit stats, and I believe most of it is accurate. If anything is incorrect or whatnot, please let me know and I'll correct it for the next version. But most of this has been filled out by my Discord mod, Cron M, and there was another viewer that actually filled out quite a bit as well. The name is beyond me at the moment, but I want to thank both of them right now. But Cron pretty much filled out almost everything here, so thank you to Cron M. He filled out all of the data right here. Well, most of it. I had a lot of it done as well. But in any case, so this part, there's other spreadsheets that also have this data as well, which is, um, this is not the first of its kind, basically, right? But the thing that I think that this spreadsheet has, which is a little bit different, is it actually goes into the analytics, right? So if you go to the far right of the spreadsheet, which in the units tab, you're going to see the DPS per cost, the DPS per pop, all of these stats right here, right? Pierce HP, AC HP, speed, range. And this is a very good tool for you to compare units. I know you guys probably seen me do it as well, where I go over to the unit tab, I filter. Actually, let me show you guys something that's very useful. So let's say you want to compare a couple different units. Click on this column C, go to data at the top, and then you click on filter, right? So you click on filter, and now you can just compare whatever units you want. So let's say I want to compare the Chariot Archer, right? So it's going to bring up the Chariot Archer. And let's say I want to compare this to the Toxicate. And you find the Toxicate, and then you click this box which says Add Current Selection to Filter, and you press OK. Now you're going to see them side by side. So all of this stuff is basically, I mean, it's nice to know, but it's not really that useful. The part that becomes useful in a comparison is to look at its cost per cost, right? So the DPS per cost and the HP per cost, HP per pop. This is not, I think the cost is more important. So these four columns right here, so right? So if we look at the DPS per cost, this Chariot Archer, and this is how I look at it, it has about what? Now with this is with the new patch, by the way. So you're looking at about 15% increase in DPS, right? For the Toxicate. But bear in mind that the Chariot Archer here is automatically upgraded to medium, whereas this Toxicate is not medium. So it's 15%, but it will be, this number will be even higher for the Toxicate once you put him up to medium archers, which is what the Chariot Archer is here. So this is where I kind of look at when I'm comparing units. Um, I'll, I'll just give you another thing that people are talking about right now. When I say people, I'm talking about like the top players right now, is they're looking at the Spearman and they're saying the Spearman is really, really good. So if I look, I'll just say this is my first time doing this comparison. Let's say I want to compare the Spearmans rather to the Berserk, which have somewhat similar utility, I guess. But if you look at the Spearman and we can look, this is how I would analyze it. The Berserk has a little bit more HP, not a little bit more, 10 more HP, which is quite a bit. The Berserk has more hack damage, way better DPS as well, right? This is interesting, actually. And then if we go down, this is the Spearman beats it by 0.2 speed, right? So I'm talking to some really high level players right now who are saying that the Spearman is completely busted, right? So when you're looking at the stats right here, the stats for the Berserk are a little bit better. But when you look here, the Spearman has a 75% multiplier versus cavalry. So that's the distinguishing factor between the two units itself. And then we look at the DPS. Obviously, Berserk is way higher. DPS per cost, Berserk is way higher per pop, HP. Pretty much around across the board, the Berserk is a better unit. Um, to the most part, here you have a little bit in favor of the Spearman, right? But the distinguishing factor is the fact that if Berserks are raiding your base or running around the map, you can actually counter them with cavalry units, right? If spearmen are running around the map, you can't counter them with cavalry units. So it's one of the fastest infantry units in the game. Um, Realistically, it has very little in terms of being able to stop spearmen raids, right? You can't. How are you going to stop a spearman raid? Murmillos are slower, berserks are slower, hoplites are slower. Everything, all the infantry units are slower than the spearman H2. And cavalry doesn't work because cavalry gets countered by the spearmen. So that's what's making this unit so strong. I still think it's balanced. I don't think it's really that busted. I think it's one of the better units for Egyptian in age two. I think in age three, the spearman kind of has a lot of heavy counters because he dies relatively fast, right? 75 HP and pretty low, I believe, in terms of pierce armor. So 10%. So he dies very fast to archers. Sorry, 15%. But in age two, he's a very versatile unit in terms of raiding and controlling the map. So the spearman is a very good role unit in H2, but I don't think it's like a broken unit per se. So anyways, here I did a comparison with my spreadsheet. You guys can do whatever comparisons you want. I think it's very useful, right? Like looking at, for example, another one. Let's. I was thinking about this during the tournament, right? Should I go Leto or should I go Prometheus, right? So let's look at the Promethean and compare the Promethean to um, the automaton. So let's do that really quickly. All right, so if we look at the two, and remember, myth units, you got to look a little bit deeper into them because the Promethean will split into two when he dies, right? Whereas the automaton, you can repair them, and even when they die, you can rebuild them. So you can't just look at base stats for myth units per se, right? You can't look at base stats for, you got to take everything with a grain of salt, but it's something to look at and it's useful, right? So right off the bat, you can see there's a whopping HP difference between the automaton and the Promethean, right? So that's the first thing. In terms of cost, they're pretty much the same, except the automaton is 6 favor, whereas the Promethean is 8, right? Total damage, it's similar. Attack speed, Promethean has a little bit higher attack. So the automaton, that's why I'm saying like these, you don't look at those stats as much. When we look over here at the DPS, the automaton is better DPS. The automaton, I would assume, is like completely destroys the Promethean in terms of its actual tankiness, right? Look at the difference. In terms of HP per cost, HP per pop, hack HP actually goes to the Promethean there, and Pierce HP goes to the automaton. So you can see that like you can compare. This is a nice tool for just like doing a little overview and comparing units. It's not the end all, but it's just something nice to have, and I just want to share it with you guys. I'll keep on improving it, and I'll keep on adding things to it. So the next thing I want to show you is I use this quite a bit. So when I'm in the editor and I want to test some units out, let's say that I want to compare and I've done this before, I think. Let's say I want to compare the Spearman, right, to the hoplite. You guys can see as soon as I type in the name of the unit that I want to compare, it's going to automatically change the cost, right? So now I can see if I want to do a fair comparison between spearmen and hoplites at the same cost, I'm going to have to make this number, right? I'm just going to highlight it so you guys can tell when I'm watching the video. And this number, I have to make them equal. So it's going to be roughly 14 spearmen is the equivalent of 11 hoplites, right? Just going to delete this because it's not necessary. So essentially, this is a quick tool for being able to do a little test. Let's see if I even, yeah, see, you can type in any unit you want here, automaton, and it's going to give you the exact cost, right? Just be careful with myth units because it doesn't calculate the favor, but all the human units, it's going to calculate the favor. You got to just remember you spell it right. So you can see that the cost here will change the moment you change the name of the unit. So I don't know, the slinger, right? So just a little tool to help if you want it. It's up to you if you want to use it or not, just something I've used. The upgrades panel, I started on this list, but I didn't have time to finish it, but I would say ignore this for now. Now, at the bottom here is going to be build orders for every single civilization. Now, some of them are outdated, but some of them are up to date. So when I was preparing for my tournament games versus Vortex, I actually redid my Chronos build order and I redid my Oranos build order. So these ones are new that I just created and had these ready for the tournament. So you guys can see they're nice and organized. I used this one to actually build my TC as fast as I possibly could. I don't know if you guys watched the games versus Vortex, but this is exactly what I used. And the same thing here. I prepared this, but I never ended up using it. This one's very straightforward, very easy, but it's just quick builders. The guide build order is the one I have on my YouTube channel. I have a guide for it as well. It's very straightforward, nothing too complicated, right? And it's just an overview. So you practice it once, you couple it in with the video that I have, and you're going to be able to do it. The Freyr build order is very complicated. It's a complicated sieve, right? So, but here it is, and this one's updated. But now, I think the Norse ones, the Thor one is not updated. I wouldn't use this one, but the Odin, Loki, these are pretty much, I use them still. Raw, I think it's a little outdated. Set, I can still use this one. And Hades, Poseidon, these are pretty straightforward, and I can still use these ones as well, right? So even though there might be a little bit outdated in terms of when I created them, they're still very useful, and I still think that they're going to give you a good advantage, better than playing with no build order at all, right? So anyways, this this spreadsheet's going to be up for you guys to watch and, sorry, to download, and I will continuously update it. Just have a look. If there's any mistakes, let me know. Take it with a grain of salt. None of this is to be, and like, don't form your gameplay based on this, but just use this as a nice little addition to your gameplay, right? Yeah, that's all. Thank you guys for getting me up to 10,000 subs. I appreciate that very, very much. And I will see you in the future videos. Bye.